Hey, what's up? I wanted to vlog this morning, and I got up and I showered, and I was gonna get ready to go. I was thinking about running a few errands. My hair is still wet. Um, so I was thinking about um vlogging, but then I was like, I don't really know what to talk about. My hair's still sticking in my head, so I guess I won't wear my glasses. And I don't know if you ever do this, but sometimes you get in your own head and you're talking to yourself about something you've heard in the past, and you're just having like this long conversation in your head, like, this is what I would have said, why didn't I say it back then? But then there was nobody there to even speak to it to begin with. They've long since left the conversation. I do that all the time, and one of the things that in life in general, when I meet new people, I'm not really great at making friends because I am an old soul. I was raised around adults. I've always been the very hyper child who was easily amused by my own thoughts or ideas or whatever. It didn't take much to make me laugh, but I'm also very shy, so I wouldn't speak to nobody. I easily entertained myself as a child. I was a single child for a long time, for like 11 years, till my brother came along. So, I'm used to being around my cousins and my, adults in my family. And then back then in the 80s, when they have parties, all the adults come over and bring their children too. So when the kids, I don't know, it's just something about like my imagination is so big that little regular child's play just wasn't entertaining for me. I had these big adventure ideas, like I wanted to do what the adults do. Adults like going sporting in caves and exploring and hiking, like that was the stuff I wanted to do. So I guess that's why I was also really drawn to adults. Plus, I love their stories. I loved sitting down with my grandfather and my nana and all my grandparents and hear their stories of what they've done in life and their happy moments, sad moments, blah blah blah. So I was always a kid over there, and my grandparents, or aunts and uncles, and listening. So when you're raised around adults, one thing really happens if you're appreciative of stuff like that. It makes you mature a little faster. Doesn't mean you're not still a kid at heart, because you can be a big kid but still think like an adult about things. That's one reason why a lot of us, in my generation, a lot of us could be trusted to be left home alone. Back then we appreciated our grandparents, and I guess grandparents are starting to become younger and younger because kids are starting to have kids younger and younger. So the maturity level was different from my grandparents to today's kids' grandparents. They were old, and now maturing in their age, whereas today's grandparents could be 30 or 40, whereas mine were 50, 60. So you mature a little faster about how you see things in life. You become a little bit more realistic, and that affects you later on. And you learn to appreciate things in life. You also make decisions based on things you've learned through adults. And I was also, so I don't know if that molded me. I think every little thing you do molds you. And I was molded into this tomboy-esque, person. I was, I thought so much like how guys think. Guys are easy. Majority of guys, even to this day, are still easy, simple-minded. Not simple as in stupid, but simple as in emotionally simple. They think about something, they either think about it or they don't. There's no debating and doting and worrying unless it pertains to something, super serious. But they can have a fight and get over it, whatever. Whereas girls tend to dote and want to argue and want to hold grudges, and I have very little patience. And I always thought it was because I was just an impatient person. It turns out it's just certain things I have impatience about. I'm the kind who, I always hate it when, like, I meet people, and this is the main thing I was getting at, the thought that I was having, is I always think about all these situations I've always been in. And even to this day, whether it be friends, family, strangers, or someone my husband knows or someone I know, they'll be like, hey, and they'll ask Sam Squatch, hey, you should totally come out with us and let your wife go off with my girlfriend or my wife. And I'm just like, and I'm like looking at my husband going, you know dang well, the answer is no. Not because I'm being a bitch. It's because it's to remind him, hey, no, because I'm not like that. It's not that I don't want him to go out. It's, and to this day, I don't know why, after we've been together almost 11 years now, if not already 11 plus years, I have to remind him, even though I may be a female, I'm not a female. Because, yeah, I may not be 100% like him, and he sees me as a female, but I have to remind him every once in a while. He works more than he is home. Like, he works 10 plus hours and then come home and crashes. And so he's always tired. He works like 6 days a week right now. So his coworkers see him more than I do. He sees his coworkers more than he sees me. So he knows more about them. He remembers more about them throughout the day than, he can remember certain attributes about me being a woman sometimes, but not so much being a tomboy. So, anyways, so there are times I have to go, hey, no, because I'm not the kind that wants to go shopping. I'm not the kind that wants to hear about how these girls, interact with their coworkers. I'm not the kind that, I don't have children either. I don't have children. I don't talk about coworkers because I work from here. If I work at all, I'm mostly a housewife, but when I do sell things, arts and crafts, it's from my house. It's not like I'm out at a, public place to clock in. I'm not on a time clock. So even when I did have a time clock back then, I didn't go home and talk about my day. The only person, if I ever spoke about them, would be boss, because that's the only person I have to answer to. But coworkers to me don't matter. I'm not here to please you. I'm not here to make friends. I mean, if it happens organically, then it happens. But I'm not here to try to make it happen. And people don't get that, and they get so offended by that, especially today's generation. Everything is about feelings. Feelings are not supposed to be something you focus on. They're just something that happens. And now we're making everything about feelings, and it's getting ridiculous. But that's a whole nother conversation. Anyway, so I don't talk about feelings, and I don't talk about obviously crushes because I'm married. And so when people are like trying to pawn me off on their wives or their girlfriends and take my husband, I'm just like, why do I want to stay behind? You're going out to drink a beer, maybe shoot some pool, or y'all want to go bowling. I do too. I don't want to stay home. I don't want to sip wine and talk about, girly crap. That's not, I don't wear makeup on the daily. Not even monthly. I'm allergic to it. But even if I wasn't, I just always was the kind who didn't wear it. When I wear makeup, my makeup is like Halloween style. I love to paint my face. I've always been that way since I could, walk and do my face. I always got into my grandmother's box and would put lipstick on my cheeks and nose and make myself a rabbit or a puppy. That's how I see makeup. So I'm not the kind who's going to talk about fashion. Now, don't get me wrong. I love to design fashion, but I don't care what is popular. If I design it, I design it because I just have ideas. But as far as what's out there and what's popular, could care less. I've got clothes that are 12 plus years old. If I get new clothes, then I get new clothes. If I don't, I don't. I don't care. I like saving money because I like, having, in case something happens. I think like that. I'm an old soul. And I don't really tend to get along with girls, and it's not because I don't like them. It's just because I hardly have much in common other than physically being a woman and liking men. I absolutely love men. but I love them so much. I like to be like them, around them, and I like to talk cars. I may not know what type of car it is, but I love to tinker. I love to take things apart, and I love to fix them. I love to shoot pool. I love to play basketball back in the day when I could, and my body worked better. And now I've been hurt so much I couldn't play right now if I wanted to. Plus, I'm overweight. But I'm the kind that I want to go bowling, and I want to talk about music, and I want to talk about art, and I want to go exploring, again someday. But those are the things I like. So I get offended, and I kind of get hurt, like when people don't want to include me, but they don't understand that I'm not like a regular female. And so it's just aggravating. and but I do have to say though, the few friends that I do have though, they're awesome, because the ones who actually are real and know that I'm real, they stick by me, because they realize even though I'm annoying, even though I'm obnoxious, even though I'm loud, even though I'm maybe debative or argumentative or whatever you want to call it, they know at the end of the day I'm loyal, I'm going to be there, whether emotionally or monetarily, I'm supportive. And it's so funny because, like, I don't care, like, how a lot of women care about celebrities. Like, I would probably be the perfect friend if a celebrity did. I'm not in California, obviously, but if I was, wherever the majority of them are, I'd probably be that perfect friend, because I'm the kind that's like, I don't care to talk about them so much, and I'm the one that, if I saw them, I'd just be like, oh yeah, I saw that movie. Okay. And then I would be over it. I wouldn't be like the kind that's trying to run up to them and get their autograph. And I don't get it. I mean, I try to get it, but I guess maybe it's on a level that maybe because they're single, they think they're hot. I just honestly think a lot of the women see money. They see money, and that's what they're drawn to. Because honestly, there's a lot of celebrities I've never even heard of that I will see photos of commonly throughout social media, and I'll just go, oh, okay, wow, shouldn't wear that, but that's, not my thing, whatever floats their boat. And, and these are things I would say to their face. And I get so tickled at people who would say one thing, behind their backs, but in real life, they'd probably kiss their butt, But I like people who tell me the truth. I appreciate raw, authentic opinions. Like, I'm the kind that I just don't get offended if someone tells me, no, that makes you look fat, or no, that looks hideous on you. Ew, don't do that. I'm just like, okay. And then I come more self-aware. I don't call it self-conscious, because self-conscious is things that you can't help. Too many people are self-conscious about things they shouldn't be. Because things you should be self-conscious about are things that you can't help, that you can try to work on. Whereas self-aware is taking criticism about things that you do that you can control. And you need to be self-aware. Like if you're smacking, don't be self-conscious about that. Self-conscious is more health issues. Anyway, but I love when people are honest with me, and that's how I am in return. I like to be honest about things. So I think that's another reason why guys tend to flock to me, and I think that's why when I was younger, I always say, when I was younger, girls hated me from a get-go because I was hanging out with the boys, and I could get along with them well, and they're over there having crushes on these guys. The guys want nothing to do with me. That's what I didn't understand, why the girls were jealous anyway. And don't get me wrong, though. When junior high hit, when my hormones finally hit, I had crushes on everybody. It was about 7th grade, actually, right before junior high, actually. So, 7th grade. I started noticing I had, well, technically, okay, there was only about 2 guys I had crushes on, but they were hard crushes. Then when I realized I think I screwed that up, that's when junior high came at the end of the year. I'm starting a few months later in the new school, junior high. I'm just like full on out, hormoning, if that's a word, hormonal. and just full on boy crushes everywhere. So that part of me is, feminine. I am feminine in a lot of ways, but I'm the kind that just not so serious. I sit back, I relax. I want to hang with the guys because I can spit, I can burp, and not be judged and not hear, oh, gross, you're so nasty. Cannot tell you how many times during my whole childhood I would hear a girl say, you're so gross. Ew, you're doing this or you're doing that and you shouldn't wear that. And I was just like, for the longest time, I was self-conscious about things I shouldn't have been. I felt like I was fat for the longest time. Now I'm fat, but back then I wasn't. I was starting to get thicker in 4th grade, but I didn't get fat till probably started getting a little chunky in high school. But I was really called, like Amazon, I was called thick, I was called brick house, because I was carrying it in all the right places. But I felt fat. And then when college hit, I just quit caring. I got a boyfriend at the time, at the end of high school, beginning of college. I had a boyfriend at the time, and I just quit caring. And I started gaining weight. They say you gain weight when you're happy, and I was happy at the time. So, anyways, I've always just generally felt comfortable around guys. And when I hear people always talking about relationships and how they have such a hard time, I'm just like, if people would just relax. Honestly, the key to dating, don't just go out with someone and go on a date and try to make it happen. You know the moment you meet someone if you're going to end up being in a relationship. It just, when you hang around adults long enough, you learn what a true relationship is. All these girls today, they're like, oh, I'm going on a date with so-and-so. I don't know, but I think he really, like you should already know if he likes you. Why are you going on a date if you don't even know if he likes you? That's something you should have already covered. You need to talk to people and be friends with them first. You need to talk with them for at least 4 to 6 hours. You will know by the end of that conversation if they're going to be someone you're going to be in a relationship or not. You just feel it. You can't explain it. You just feel it, and it clicks, and you know. And you don't even have to ask them if they like you. You both just, know. And too many girls probably go on 18, 20-something dates before they're even 20 because they're so strung out on trying to find someone to be with. And the thing is the time you find someone to fall in love with is when you're not even looking. You're not focused on them. You're working on yourself, meaning you're just enjoying life. You're doing your thing. You're working. You're making money, or you're going to college. You're taking care of some people. Whatever it is you're doing, you're not even focused on a relationship. And then, bam, one day you meet someone and you talk to them, and at the end of the conversation, you realize you had a great conversation. I really like them. But before they even walk away, you've either exchanged numbers or have already asked each other, do you want to go hang out on another date? And that, you just know. You don't even have to ask yourself. So I just wish more people would work on that, because too many people are jumping into relationships. Like, every relationship I've had, and I have not had many at all. I'm a serial monogamist. I'm very loyal. I'm the kind that if I'm in it, it's because I'm certain I think God has got someone for you on every path you take. If you decide to go down this road and you want to do things this way, there's someone waiting. If you decide, you know what, I can't do this, there's going to be someone over here. Or say they die, something happens, there's someone waiting on the next path. There's always someone for your journey, no matter which path you take. I don't believe in soulmate. I believe in soulmates, as in on which time plane that you're on. Some people aren't meant to have a soulmate. Some people, your child is your soulmate. Some people, you're brought here into this world till God's done with you, and then He calls you home when your job is done. Some people, your job is to do something profound, and if you were to be in a relationship, it might stop you from doing whatever your journey was supposed to be. So those of you who are lonely, trying to figure out, why am I lonely? Why can't I find someone? It's one of two things. Either you're too focused and too hard to find them that you're missing them. Or your purpose is to not be with someone because you were meant for something big, and if you're with them, you're not going to be able to fulfill whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. So you have to think about that. It's not about you. It's about the bigger picture. It's about the journey of life and what you leave behind. So I just want everyone to chill out, everyone to relax. I want women to understand how guys deal with things. Like, we're all different. Jumping back to the comment I made earlier about the difference between men and women and snowflakes and things. That whole argument, like, you should call people what they want to be called, whether they want to be called female or male. Hold on one second. Okay, I had to clear my throat off camera, and I don't want y'all to hear that loud. Anyway, people often argue about how, people should be called what they want to be called. The problem with that is people get so offended when they're asked. Like, I saw a comment last night from this dude who's clearly a dude, and he's dressed up as a woman or living as a woman. That's his business. But he was so offended that someone asked him if he was male or female. Look, you want to be a male, be a male. You want to be a female, or I should say act like a female, live as a female, then live as a female. But don't get it twisted. If someone wants to ask you a question, whether it pertains to your sexuality or your marital status or your age or your weight, no matter what the question is, no matter how personal it is, it's all personal, whether it's weight or age or height or sexuality, it's all the same thing. If someone asks you, they may be religious. They may not want to cross that religious line. Don't get offended. You're getting offended at is stupid. I mean, it's your life. If you want to be offended and live by being offended by everything, by all means be offended by everything. But you're going to miss out on a lot of things if you don't just relax and not take everything to heart. If someone is asking you how old you are or how much you weigh, you got to realize we all have a list. Don't lie. We all have a list of things we look for in people. And when we see someone and we're attracted to them, we're going to ask personal questions because we're trying to see if we're going to be, I may look at someone whenever I would think about dating them. Again, I didn't just date anybody. I would look at them and go, I wonder what kind of person they are. I wonder how tall they are. Because it's one thing to look at a person, and it's another thing to have a conversation and ask all these real questions and get down to the nitty-gritty. So don't get offended, because if they're asking you what sex you are, it's because I can't tell necessarily up front. Not everybody can do that. I've just lived long enough and been around it so much that I can just tell. So I'm sitting here going, anyway, if you're a male or you're a female, but you're living as the other, just stop being offended when someone asks. Just don't ask their question. If you don't want to ask their question, don't ask their question. If you want to, find out why they're asking, privately inbox them, answer, and then go why after you answer it. Because you might just find out they're okay with crossing that religious line, but some aren't, and just go, oh, okay. And it's not that they're going to be offended that you're living as that. I mean, I have friends that are bi or gay or living transgender. That's not my business. Would I date them? No. Even if I was single, I don't judge them because I'm taught. Again, I'm an old soul taught not to judge. Now, but I do live biblically according to the rules as best as I can. I'm not perfect, but I do sin. But I try to live as best as I can close to the rules as physically possible. So if I had met a female that was dressed as a boy and I thought she was cute, I thought he was cute and I thought it was a he. If I didn't, had this gene or characteristic where I just knew, If I wasn't that kind of person and I couldn't tell and I was hitting on someone and they said to me, just need to be honest with you, I'm really a female, I'd be like, oh. Because even though I may be attracted to you because I thought you were one thing, and I'm also religious, so I don't want to cross that line. I will still love you as a person. I will still be friends with you. I just couldn't date you because that's against my religion. So you got to remember, for us who are religious and do believe in the Bible and try to follow the rules, it's not that we have anything against you as a person. It's just sometimes we might want to know. I mean, there are going to be trolls. There are going to be religious assholes who aren't sticking to the rules of the Bible, who may call you out and may call you names, and they're not being very Christian. You know, that's not very Christian if someone's sitting there calling you names or whatever. But just for the rest of us who are trying to be, religious and try to be the right Christian, we may ask you because we might be interested, and we just need to know because we don't want to live a lie. So that's just a thought, to pass on. Don't be so offended. But, and if you're one of the people who is Christian, do keep in mind how you ask people things, who you might think might be a female or a male, but live in the other. Just remember, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So keep that in mind. If you want a polite response, don't come at them. And then another note on the whole sexuality thing. You got to remember also, those of you that are living female or male but aren't, don't also be offended when people say you're not that, because you can say that you're a mermaid, you can say you're an alien, you can say you're a female when you're actually a male, and you can call yourself whatever in reality, but on your driver's license, it needs to be whatever you were born, honestly. Because if my friend goes missing, if my trans friend went missing, and I'm trying to explain this to the police, your license needs to just say trans or male or female. It doesn't need to say male when you're female or female when you're male. It needs to say trans if you want to say anything other than what you were born with. And here, because it's going to cause confusion later on. The problem is if you go missing and you were born a female, but I'm telling them to look for this dude, they're going to be very confused when they find a body. They're going to think that they don't have the person I'm looking for. So it is important. Sexuality is very important in life. It is and the thing is not only can you not change your DNA internally, I can't remember who it is, male or females, we carry an extra chromosome, one of us. You can't change DNA. You cannot change the fact that you have ovaries or a uterus. Yes, you can remove them, but you can't change that you were born with them, and you can't change how your body looks internally even after you remove them. It's just something we were born with. Our DNA affects our innards. You can physically change your outwards look and appearance and tools, but you can't change your DNA. So when you do go missing or something happens to you and the coroner has to test your body, even in your bone says if you're male or female. And if I'm lying through my teeth telling them, my best friend's a male, but yet I'm telling them looking for a female, it's just, they're going to tell me they didn't find them because it's not the right person. So I honestly, if I had a friend that was trans living one way, even though they were born another, I would just say, my friend is trans. I would give out their business if they're missing, because it's critical. I would do it in the most polite, respectful manner, but I am going to get that out because that is the only time when it's important, or when you're dating. It's only important when someone's looking to date you or when someone's looking for you. Any other time, you're right. No, it's not anybody's business. But you can choose to share your business and find out where it goes, or you can choose to lock it up. But the whole main thing is, please stop everybody being offended or being offensive, and that would cut out a whole lot of the whole butt hurt feelings and how we all see each other. But as time goes on, women are getting worse and worse for me to hang out with. So I was just curious, though, does any of y'all ever go through this? Do any of y'all ever have couple friends that are, you know, wanting to hang out with your husband or your wife, and you're just like, I'm not feeling it. I'd rather hang out with my husband's friends because that's how I am. That's why it's so hard that now that I've moved out of Alabama and I live in Texas, it's hard to meet friends. Everyone drinks, and I'm not a big drinker. Like, I may drink once every couple weeks to every couple months, and it may be a drink. I don't just sit there and do shots or drink, you know, bottles. I can have a whole shelf full of liquor and it go untouched for a year. I'm not like that. So that's why I don't invite a whole lot of people over, because people tend to go after that shelf now. They think it's party time. And, or everybody already has kids and I don't have any kids. And so it's really hard to find someone like me that is down to earth and won't be two-faced. And because too many women, of course, when you meet a couple, the wife is usually going to want to talk to me, and I'm going to want to just talk to the husband, and they're going to think I'm hitting on their husband. And it's so confusing. It's really hard to meet down-to-earth people who are not two-faced, that don't smoke a lot of pot. Nothing against pot, but it just gets ridiculous sometimes how people are with pot. And they base their whole night around it, and it becomes this whole ritual, and it's just like... Anyways, I like the ones who don't even, it's not even a thing. It's over there. They may do it when I'm gone, but it's not even a thing. They don't even ask me. Or they're drunks, and they want to sit around and drink and shoot the shit, and I'm just like... Because once people start getting inebriated and I'm sitting there sober, the conversation becomes stupid. And it just becomes ridiculous. And then I just want to go home. So it's really hard, though, to make friends the older you get. So I do have a few friends left from when I was a teen. Like I said, those are the ones you hold